Welcome to the Community Collective Podcast, a flip-flop agent production in collaboration with the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce. I am your host, Johnny B. Good. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Community Collective. I am your host, Johnny B. Good, and I've got a very special guest with me tonight, somebody that I've known for the better part of 20 plus years. And our paths have crossed again more recently, and I'm just pumped to have him on the pod and talk about all the great things that he's doing in the community. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Patrick Hingst. Pat, how you doing this evening, my friend?
Awesome, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that we've tried to schedule this a few separate times, and our schedules are busy as ever with kids and businesses and everything else. So I'm glad that you were able to make the time this evening. Let's just jump right into it, man. Do you want to start off with maybe giving us a little bit of background? I feel as though everybody should know who you are, just given the amount of great things that you're doing in the communities that you serve. But there might be one or two out there that aren't for sure exactly who you are and what you have going on. So why don't you give us a little background first?
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that kind statement. Yeah, my name is Patrick Hingst. I'm 41 years old. Basically, I was born and raised in Royal Oak, but moved to Lapeer when I was 11. And at the time when I moved there, it was a hard transition for me. Living in Royal Oak, was able to ride my bike to school, walk to my friend's house. It was a lifestyle I became used to and really enjoyed even at the age of 11. Moving to Lapeer was a bit of a culture shock for me, with that being at the time, especially a much more of a rural community than I was used to, stuff much more spread out, less options for me to ride bike places and visit people. I struggled when I got to Lapeer, but the one thing I always loved was the downtown. I moved there, the Gus Macker tournament was going on. I'd never seen anything like that, with the 3-on-3 basketball taking over the streets. The Pix used to show movies back then. Jurassic Park was playing the day I moved into town, and that was my favorite movie back then.
Oh,
So there was a
yeah.
lot about the downtown, the energy that I really appreciate. I went to Maple Grove Elementary, E.T. White before they closed it down, and then Lapeer East, where I graduated in the class of 2000. From there, I was ready to get out of Lapeer. Went to Michigan State, thought I was going to be a lawyer my whole life. Got burnt out in some prerequisite classes there, honestly, in almost like some forms of trouble. And it was just a really bad spot where I didn't know, for the first time in my life, I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I'd always had this game plan, and everything seemed to be falling apart. And had this good buddy, Jared. I was in a fraternity. He was one of my pledge brothers. I was just over at his place sitting on the couch talking about my troubles and not sure what I was going to do. And he just started asking me some questions about, what I was really passionate about and what jobs I enjoyed. And at that point, I'd had several different restaurant jobs. Started at McDonald's on M24 there in Lapeer when I was 16. Did some time at Applebee's, worked at Subway even. And I really liked it. I liked the industry. I liked interacting with people. I liked making them happy, serving them food. And so as he was asking me these questions, his major was hospitality business, restaurant management. And he's, look, our school is the best in the country for it. We got great teachers who are leaders in the industry. You can graduate and you'll have lots of opportunities for jobs. They don't pay the greatest, but it's a lot of fun. I ended up at that moment, I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, okay, I can change majors, graduate within 2 years, work my way up to GM of a regional chain, and then open my own sandwich shop. All these thoughts came to me. It was in that moment that I learned about manifesting and the power of that. So that became my game plan. I woke up the next day motivated, switched majors, loved the new major. Michigan State was awesome for hospitality business. Our teachers were really excellent. We got tons of different visitors from all different types of companies, Big B Coffee, Bell's Brewery, Michelin star chefs. It was really an amazing program where we got both culinary and the business side of things. I ended up graduating, got a job offer from my number one company I wanted to work for, which was BD's Mongolian Barbecue. It's my favorite restaurant back in the day. And I ended up going to work for them at their Dearborn location. I ended up working my way up after 4.5 years to acting GM of their Royal Oak location. And they were going to give me a new store they were opening in Virginia to take over and run. Wasn't that excited to move into Virginia, but really wanted to move up. I had them make me some promises about the type of control I'd have for my team. They ended up eventually not living up to their end of the bargain, and I pushed back. And based on some technicality stuff, they ended up terminating me without a whole lot of cause. They gave me a small
Yikes.
severance package. I was pretty depressed because I worked so hard for that company, but I cried for a day, Googled how to write a business plan, and then bada boom, bada bing, I created the business plan for what became Witches and MC Witches. This was back in 2000 recession time. wasn't that fun
Okay.
out there. Trying to get people to loan me money. Like literally the banks laugh at you when you say you're a restaurant. Scrape together about 35,000 bucks, which is not a lot to start a restaurant. Found a spot in Oxford and abracadabra opened our doors about 14 years ago. Bootstrapped
Wow.
it going super hard. Second year in business, started messing around with a little mini smoker out back doing pork and brisket. People came in, said, wow, I'm from Texas. I know barbecue. I'm from Carolina. I know barbecue. You guys are really good. How long have you been smoking? It's like a couple weeks, couple months maybe. We thought about this. We loved eating. And so shortly after that, we were up at, my friend still lived in Lapeer. So we were up there at, used to be a Bruzo's piano bar right
Mhm.
downtown. And I was talking with my best friend, business partner, Jay. I'm like, hey, Lapeer, I want to love this town. I want it to have some really cool, unique things. I think doing a barbecue restaurant, it's just something that I think the town would vibe with. I'd love to come back and try to give that to the town. And literally, as we're having this conversation, Tony, the owner of Bruzo's, comes over to us and goes, hey, you guys own restaurants. Do you want to buy mine?
Oh,
And we're like,
wow.
whoa, okay. We're like, okay, go on. Yeah, basically had a discussion from there, went through a tough negotiation. At that point, we had our restaurant, which is it was established, but still don't make that much money in the restaurant game. But we were able
Sure.
to make a deal, work out a land contract deal with terms that made sense and able to get wood chips open in 2014. That kind of launched us into Lapeer. A few years after that, we were able to open up Cookies and Cream. It was actually in 2019. I had been an investor in the bakery that had been there, Alma Hill Breads, before, and they ended up going under. So we had this space, and my business partner, marketing director, Jess, at the time, I came to this idea for a cookie shop, and turned out she had a similar idea for 15 years to do a cookie shop with something called Cookie Cream, 50% blend of cookie and ice cream that we serve there. That's really popular and amazing. Yeah, and now we still have our spot in Oxford. It's a Wood Chips Express, but honestly, I'll announce it here. We're actually converting it back to Witches, MC Witches, our original sandwich shop concept.
Oh, wow.
After 14 years there in Oxford, so we're excited to bring back a lot of the classic favorites that people have been telling us that they want back in their towns. Transitioning that, we're getting ready to open up lightning rounds at the former Sidetrack and Pizza Depot. Bought that a couple months ago, so we're going through the process to kick that off. And yeah, man, that's my origin story. I love Lapeer. I'm ready to move back home here in the next year. I love Oxford as well, but Lapeer just feels so much like home to me now. I mean, it's always been. It just took me a while to really, come around to seeing everything it has to offer. And to be a part of that community is it's an amazing feeling. And I'm so grateful.
Wow. Let's just wrap it up right there. You just killed it. You
Yeah, I
don't even
poured a
need
ton
me
on
as
you,
a
man.
host.
Sorry, I went
No,
off on
that's
a kind of a long rant.
no, that was fantastic. But it's amazing how life progresses and where you go from where you were to where you moved to. And then you understood the charm and then you change majors. And then boom, all of a sudden you're back in your hometown, your adopted hometown per se. And here you sit, expanding even further. What a true testament to entrepreneurship and getting it done. Good for you, man. It's such a great story to hear.
Thanks, brother. The big lesson I learned in there is look, nothing in life is negative. It's just a step to get to where you need to go. And as long as you're not getting too hung up on the challenge part of it or the thing you might have lost or you might not have anymore, you're going to get rewarded with something even more amazing.
Yeah.
Being able to
Perspective is everything.
looking back, and it was every challenge I faced helped me become who I am. And I'm grateful for all of it.
No, that's the right point of view. Not that you need me to affirm that for you, but that's a phenomenal point of view. So let's change modes here for a hot second because it's very clear for anybody that does know you. And if they don't know you, this is going to give them an opportunity to better understand your approach. But you're not just a business owner, you're also quite a philanthropist. And that's very evident not only in the work that you do through Wood Chips Express, Cookies and Cream, and all of that, but just the way that you cheerlead the other businesses in the communities. I absolutely love that. Being on the board of directors for our local DDA here in Davison, as well as the Chamber of Commerce, nothing makes my heart swell like seeing another business owner champion other business owners. And it's amazing. So, do you want to maybe give our listeners a little insight as to why that's such a passion of yours?
My thing is just like inspiring the sense of community and convincing people that they are their own superheroes. And all you have to do is just try to put yourself out there and you can put so much good into the world. It doesn't take, you don't have to own businesses, you don't have to write giant checks, you don't have to hold giant events, but we all have different things that we can do out there and put out into this world positively. And yet so many of us live lives where we just have these narratives that talk us out of doing it. Whether it's, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, it won't make a difference, whatever it is. All of us have those things. We've all had periods in life where we feel stuck in a spot.
Hmm.
And it seemed the more that I put this message out there, and it's not, I don't put everything that I do out there. People think I do, and I'm just trying to exploit, but it's not, in the end, it's not about me. I'm not doing this because I want praise or I want people to say nice things about me. It's great that they do. I appreciate that. But it's about just inspiring others, because it was others who put their stuff out there that inspired me in the first place. And so while I know my style of doing things doesn't necessarily connect with everybody, and I get it, it's just, there's plenty of stuff in this world to be cynical about. And I totally get everybody's perspective, even if it doesn't align with mine or to disagree with how I roll. But in the end, you don't have to agree with me for me to want to see you win. I don't,
Right.
I like competition, but I don't need competitors. I want people that want to cooperate, that want to collaborate, that want to do cool, creative stuff together. And when you take that approach where it's like, hey, this pie is big enough for all of us and we can continue to grow it, then we can find ways where we score what I call like the triple win in business, where it's, look, our guests and customers win, our business wins, and the community and the surrounding businesses win as well. And when we can create initiatives or platforms or programs or events that can do that, it's hard for anybody to be against it because everybody is winning. And I think if we spend our time working towards those types of scenarios as opposed to more divisive stuff, or one side takes all, winner takes all, I have to win for you to lose, and vice versa type mentality, then we can all get on board with this. And as we've seen people come who've said they've been inspired by what we do, it's so exciting to see like what's becoming like a mini movement up here and the way it has so many different positive effects throughout the community.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. The collaborative aspect to business is so important. And people, myself, even as a business owner in a past life, it would feel competitive at times. And as I've gotten older and what I would hope would be wiser, seeing that collaborative aspect of how we can work with others, and you can do things your way, I can do things my way, but let's do things together that are for the good of everyone, and have fun
Yeah.
with it and enjoy it and actually enjoy the journey as opposed to just trying to muddle
Mhm.
through.
Yes. And I wasn't always quote unquote this wise on my early days. I did have that more competitive streak. I was a little more fiery, and I felt like seeing other people win sometimes meant I was losing. And it took me really changing that mindset for me to actually start winning. And
Yeah.
I get it. It's running a business. It's hard, man. Making payroll, especially in our industry, but all industries. You had your amazing bar for a while. I love that
Yeah.
place, the point. But you know how hard it is. There's so many moving pieces to it that very few people in the world understand unless they've been a manager or an owner of the business. And
Yeah.
sometimes it can become all encompassing, and it separates you from the passion, from your why, from what might have brought you in there in the first place. So I always, whenever people talk about other business owners, I always take it with a huge grain of salt because none of us understand their perspective of what they're going through. And like I said, some people can champion and praise the things I do. At the same time, there's people that don't get it and have completely different perspectives on it. So to each their own. Everybody can be telling the truth, and it can just be different forms of our own realities. We can all do
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You really positioned well into my next question. The restaurant business is notoriously difficult. I'm aware of that. You're aware of that. I think most people, anybody that's watched a Shark Tank episode or watched any of the gurus on YouTube say, Steer clear of restaurants. Don't own a restaurant. You don't want to do it." But
Yep.
obviously, you've seen success. You've seen challenges, but you've seen success. What's been the most unexpected challenge that you faced, and how did you tackle it, or is it still something you deal with and take head on every day?
Every day is a new adventure. I'm
Sure.
never bored. And that's both like the gift and the curse of the industry. There's a ton to do, but it's a lot of it's fun. I would say honestly, like coming in the industry as a whole, the thing that caught me off guard the most is regulation. And it's challenging because everybody wants things to be safe and everybody wants it to be like consistent order, and everybody wants the health department to make sure your food is good and all these other things. But unfortunately, regulation doesn't always equal safety. Sometimes you run into challenges from You got to deal with so many different layers of government and regulators. I have the city, I have the county with the health department. I have like I'm doing water testing now because we have a septic and a well. I have to do state for liquor license. I also have to do another state agency for the lotto and keno license. There's just so many, and if you do any sort of add-ons with building departments, there's so many different layers of things to deal with. And it's so different from the entrepreneurial world, which is go, okay, here's the challenge, here's the solution, let's move on. And
Right.
it's so much slower and extremely specific. And within that specificity can oftentimes lead challenges because it can deviate from the reality of the real world. And sometimes only singular solutions are demanded when it's apparent that there's multiple pathways to get there. So, without getting too much into the weeds, I'm not just some small government guy going, oh, regulation. There can be better and smarter ways to do it. And these regulations create so many barriers to entry that one of my biggest missions is helping other young upstart entrepreneurs get through that initial startup phase because it can be so daunting, so challenging, so overbearing that many just give up and their
Yeah.
creative ideas or their new businesses just die with them. And
Yep.
while it's easy to see those businesses that make it and succeed, it's much harder to see those that never even had a chance to see the day of light. So that was the thing that caught me off guard. I've gotten good at dealing with it, managing it, not getting super frustrated with the this place, this spot opening up my fourth business. My main role at that point is handling all that for the businesses and keeping it off my team, handling all the
Yep.
compliance, all the regulation, and I got in this industry to serve amazing food with giant smiles and create awesome experiences. So yeah, the biggest surprise for me is that you become a restaurant owner and that's not your life. Your life is dealing with all of the rules, regulations, and compliance just to make sure you can get out on the ball field and play the game you really want.
And to look at the other side of the coin, you get the community, and not speaking in reference to my community, Davison, yours in Lapeer, just communities in general. Oh my God, we have another this coming in or another that. And and this is my own personal opinion, the innovation that we could potentially see come into play from an entrepreneur really is throttled tremendously by all these regulations and just the hoops that they require everyone to jump through just to chase a dream, do something.
Yep.
And now if I needed 20,000, now I need 40,000 because you guys are requiring all these permits and all these tests and all this and all that. And it's like, man,
Oh yeah.
you guys, you're just choking it out. We want the capitalism to thrive and we want locally owned businesses and proprietors. And what the heck, man? What do you want? Another Walmart, another Meyer,
Yeah,
another chain
exactly.
store? That's not what we're looking for.
Whenever you have too much regulation, it leads to consolidation because only the larger firms have the ability to meet the compliance. And so that's
Bingo.
why you see in the restaurant industry, the ratio of corporate or franchise chains to independents continues to grow. There are less and less independents and more corporate chains because it's so hard for us being mom and pop shops, having our small teams to be able to handle all that compliance. Whereas if you're one of these
Right.
bigger corporations, you have a whole department that does it for you, that gets you the full
Sure.
playbook, that gets you the resources. I'm not against chains on the surface. On some level, they're bringing a product that the people want. But again, you can see what exists. It's harder to see the things that didn't get created. It's harder to see the
Right.
great independent shop that never got to be, that instead is the fifth Taco Bell in the area.
One on every expressway exit from here to Christmas.
Yeah. I passed almost five on my commute. They're building that new one in Metamora. Again, it's
Right next to the Dollar General.
yeah. Look, again, they have a right to exist. That's fine, but a Taco Bell
Yep.
doesn't build it. It's
No.
attendants, it's the restaurants, the bars, the diners. Those are the public houses. Those are the community gathering spots, and those are the
Yep.
ones that should be championed. And I encourage people to use conscious consumerism. One of the most important ways we vote is with our dollars. And I'm not saying you don't eat Taco Bell. I'm not saying that, but just know every time you go eat Taco Bell, you're voting for Taco Bell. But every time you
Right.
vote for a local business, not only are you supporting them, but you're keeping more money in the local community because it's not going to a corporate headquarters or it's not leaving town in franchise fees, and it's more likely to use local vendors.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That is such a great transition yet again, because I'm going to take off my cynicism hat that I was wearing as we talked about your challenges. And let's get excited about the fact that lightning rounds is coming to Lapeer. And
Yeah.
why don't you, the stage is yours. Why don't you just tell us anything and everything you want to tell us about it? So we can get excited because I know Jessica and I cannot wait to give it a shot. Once you guys open up, we're super pumped for another great, again, locally owned and operated business.
Thank you, man. No, I'm super excited for this one. Like wood chips is amazing. By no means is that going on any sort of back burner, but I'll tell you, I've had three main what I call like dreams, goals, manifests in my life, and it was the first one was opening my first sandwich shop, and after I got that open, my next two were to throw a music festival and to open a music venue because I love music. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And then last year, while it was technically our third, it was basically our first full-blown music festival in July when we had Freedom Fest going on. We got to bring some of my favorite old school national hip hop acts here and rockers, and that was epic. And then basically at the same time that was going on, we were starting the negotiations to purchase the former Sidetracks Pizza Depot, which, while a restaurant first and foremost, is a music venue.
Mhm.
So part of my whole thing with this is as that kid who was 17 and 18 and found out there wasn't a lot to do in Lapeer, and what would we do, John? Just drive around for the most part,
Yeah,
honestly,
we would go
hang
and
out,
hang out at
admire.
Great Lakes Crossing.
Yeah, that was the adventure when we drive down
Yeah.
there, got out of town somewhere. So I didn't want kids to have that feeling like it's like they have to leave the pier just to go experience life and see cool things and get all those different experiences that a city offers. So that's what Lightning Rounds is. It's going to be like one of the most kind of modern looking places. It's going to be bright. It's going to be fun. It's a restaurant first and foremost with a menu that's built to be accessible by everybody. My approach is always to take something familiar and to elevate it, make it as fresh as possible, make it as flavorful as possible, make it the highest quality. And so we're doing all that with classic American food, but doing it a la everything on the menu is $5 or less, including our specialty cocktails.
Oh,
We
wow.
want this to be a place that everybody can come to and have a good time, whether you're at the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum or you're balling out of control on Lake Nipissing. Whatever it is, we want you to be able to come and be part of this community meeting space. So we have the back room. It's going to have its own separate branding. What we're going to be calling the music venue. We'll be releasing that soon, but it's related to lightning rounds. We'll say that. And on top of that,
Okay.
we have a beautiful patio with several piped-in fire tables, a fire bar. We have the two indoor bars we're licensed for. We're also licensed for an outdoor bar. We have our giant backyard. We just got that cleaned up from Kirtland Landscaping, did a great job. We have an outdoor stage out there. And with this setup, when it comes to next spring and summer, we're going to have the ability to bring in some really big acts if we want to go that route. But beyond that, the backyard becomes its own giant venue. We're going to be able to have tenant events, both weddings back there, reunions, grad parties, huge benefits. We're going to be able to do pig roasts back there. So the
Wow.
excitement about this whole thing, our tagline is lightning rounds, fresh food, and good stuff and fun times. And this is going to encompass that. It's not just about live music. It's much more than that. We're going to have a diverse array of different entertainment options because in the end, this isn't about what I want. This is about what the community wants.
Sure.
And we're just going to work hard to try to give it to you.
I think it is so admirable that you're seeing what's working and that you are continuing to want to improve it and make it even that much more better. And your drive and willingness to put yourself out there, whether it be financially, whether it be personally, whether whatever we want to state to it, it's all for the betterment of the community. And of course, are you going to have staff? You're going to have vendors you're going to pay. You've got all these different features and aspects to the business, but really at the core of it, it's all community centered. It's for the people. And
Yes.
being for the people, I think is such a great way in which to convey your love for the community. I'm doing it for you guys because I love you and I appreciate you. And I want you guys to have this place to go to. So it sounds amazing. I absolutely love the concept.
Thanks, man. We're going to be releasing more details in the coming weeks here as we approach closer to opening. We are targeting to be open this year. Everybody asks
Right.
me what's the day, and while I go back to that question about what the biggest challenges are, it's various authorities hold all the power there. Mostly liquor control tends to take the longest.
No, not
They,
at all. They're super speedy.
on the fast end, it's 3 months, and it's never 3 months.
Sure.
So we're waiting to hear back from them once we get that in place. we have most of our other ducks in a row and we should be able to push towards the finish line pretty quick. But yeah, I've learned in this industry, I don't say a day because
Oh
it
yeah.
did end up being way later, but I'm
Yeah.
very confident we'll be open this year, 2023.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. I might be putting the cart before the horse a little bit here. Looking ahead, you've accomplished so much. We've got lightning rounds on the horizon. You still have the Wood Chips Express converting back over to MC Witches with some type of combination restaurant there, cookies and cream. Is there anything else on the horizon that you're looking at? And I'm not asking you to spill the beans or give us a quote unquote exclusive, but are you looking to additional things in the future, or are we really going to focus on what you've got currently? What's going on in that big brain of yours?
I don't know if I would be able to open another restaurant. I'm at the point in my career where I get excited to help other entrepreneurs. I would help others open restaurants and do other businesses and find ways to support and put them in a position to potentially invest. I love finding other people and just helping them, like I said, get that shot and helping
Yeah.
cheerlead them and get them through those initial barriers to entry that can dissuade so much.
Yep.
And beyond that, we are working on putting up downtown Lapier's first new building in so many years that their records, they couldn't even tell me when the last time somebody put up a new building in downtown Lapeer was. So we're working on that. I've never done anything like that. So learning how to become a developer is definitely a huge learning curve. We're about 50% of the way through the design process. And we've been working on that for, oh geez, I don't forget when I announced it, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a very long and daunting process, but we're working through it, and we know that we're going to get there. But yeah, in the end, my next transition in life is more into coaching. I want to help inspire others. I want to help them at different points in life. I've had mentors and coaches that have just really helped me get to the next level. And I think I have enough experience and kind of a unique, interesting perspective on life that can really open up not just opportunities, but new ways of thinking for people that can unlock new levels of creativity. And my goals, but I want everybody to be the maximum them. I want you to be the maximum John Good. I can't do it. Nobody else can do it. Only
Sure.
you can do it. Anything I can do to support you, John, and cheerlead you on and help you become you to fully, that's what I get really excited about and what I know my future focus and some of my current focus will be on.
I love it. I absolutely love it. If you're going to go the community route and start like a local Lapeer County venture capital firm, count me in. I'll jump on board with you there. We'll have some fun for sure, making some investments.
Awesome. Yeah, look, I'm big on Lapeer. Hey, we remodeled Wood Chips, and I'll tell you straight up, I put way more money into that building than it's worth. It's
Sure.
that's just economic led downtown and fire suppression and all that stuff. But I doing that because I'm a believer in this town. I know it's going in the right direction. I know it's going to
Yep.
grow and I believe a healthy, positive, sustained way. And as long as we all work together to foster that sense of community, we're the greatest town in Michigan, man. I have no doubt.
I love it.
Davison's
Well,
awesome too. I consider you guys, we're all like the same. Like Charles, I love
absolutely.
David. I love what you guys got going on downtown. You got some cool, like light hipster vibe spots coming along that I'm very excited for. So I think I view us as being like brother sister towns, and especially with lightning rounds, we're in the middle. We're
Oh
technically
yeah.
Alba Township, but we're not too far for all you Cardinal fans out there.
Hey, we'll come in with all of our Cardinal swag. As long as we can keep beating you up in football, we'll call it a day. That'll make us
Well,
even in my book.
just keep it. We'll call it a good rivalry at least. But
Oh, there you
I
go.
like having the top two schools right here. I think it's good. We have great communities, and the more that we can, you know, cooperate within our communities, but then collaborate as different communities, build these bridges, the more we can all win.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Patrick, I'm not going to keep you any longer, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time this evening to hop onto the Community Collective podcast. So much great information here. I am wowed by your story. I am pumped with what you guys are doing with your current restaurants and with lightning rounds coming into play. Just keep it up, man. Keep it up. Know that you've got a tremendous amount of support in the community. Lapeer, Davison, gosh, I think multiple counties wide. That's a whole nother podcast where we can talk about all the great things you guys did during COVID. But at the end of the day, keep doing what you're doing, man, because you're doing it great. And we are all super proud of you and are looking forward to seeing what you continue to do in the future.
Right back at you, brother. I mean, I've always been very proud of you and seeing your willingness to continually reinvent yourself and just continue to put yourself out there in great ways. And yeah, for you guys that didn't pick up on this, I was best friends with John basically when we were like 17, 18, 19. And dude, you were part of what I am now is partially thanks to you. You helped me like get confidence at a time when I was still like a shy and awkward kid. And I didn't fully believe in myself. And you were one of the first people to really just like gas me up and show me that I was even more than I believed myself. A heartfelt thank you to you, man.
Absolutely. Hey, it means the world to me to hear that. And I'm super, super impressed with what you've been able to accomplish, and keep it up, man. I'm looking forward to it, and many years of us getting together and reminiscing and making new memories. That's what I'm excited about.
Rock on, brother. Can't wait to see you next. Thank you very
All
much.
right, man. We'll talk to you soon. A huge thank you to Pat for taking the time to join me on this week's pod. Be sure to follow Woodchips, Cookies and Cream, and the soon to be open lightning rounds on the socials. New episodes of the pod drop every Friday on all podcasting platforms. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, support local every chance you get.